Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. So, guys, let's have a really quick talk. Let's have a really quick talk. I asked what this reading was going to be about, and what I heard is shifting gears to a positive space, really allowing yourself to get to a place within yourself where all of these things that are being said and shared on social media, all of this insanity that's happening, uh, doesn't bother you. It doesn't get you into a negative space. That's a very important thing to be able to do for yourself, especially during this period that we are in, a period where, yeah, a lot of people are kind of going bonkers with events, with information, and it's creating a lot of fear. It's really creating a lot of fear in a lot of people. And I think the most powerful thing we can do is kind of take a moment to shift our focus back to some positive things, um not pretend that we're in a better situation than we are, but to focus on what type of situation we want, right? So let's see. Okay. Okay. All right. So shifting gears to a positive space. I think for many of us, um, we're needing to kind of just banish, get rid of all of this negativity, all of this doom and gloom and, you know, yuck, yuck. I'm going to call it yuck, yuck. Okay. Just flat out yuck, yuck. And it's something that we need to make sure we frame it in the proper way. I'm not someone who scares very easily. I'm someone who's kind of like, okay, why are you telling me this? And I'm getting to a point where I'm kind of recognizing there is something very, very powerful and very, very beautiful that's happening right now within all of us. And what's happening is allowing us to get to a place where we understand how much control we have over ourselves. You need to take control back. If not, if you're going to continue to allow yourself to be so easily swayed by all sorts of things, posts, social media, people, news reports, all of these different things, you're going to really struggle with your process of birthing yourself. It's going to be something that's going to cause a lot of grief for you. Is it because you deserve grief? No, it's because that's what's being chosen by way of your focus. There's an individual that I was kind of going back and forth with on TikTok. Um, Now someone had commented something on my post, and then that person, it's like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And the individual, the original person, was simply like, can this event bring us back to a timeline where we can afford groceries? Which there's nothing wrong with that comment. And then another person comments, clearly trolling, um, is that all you worry about? And puts a laughing face. And then the first person is like, well, I don't get food stamps like you probably do. Wow. 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 What kind of pain has to exist for you to go there, whether it's true or not? What, like, and so I simply asked, have you always been this nasty, or did something happen in life? It was a genuine question. Like, I'm trying to understand the way the human brain is working. And they basically went into further defensive mode and was like, um, they were making fun of me, basically. They're making fun of me. And I just asked the question. Um, You forgot about the part where you responded back about other people's potential financial situations. Like we have to hold ourselves accountable. We need a little accountability here. At which point they responded back to me again. And let me find what they said. They might have deleted it. Yeah. Yeah, they're just a miserable person. Very miserable person. So they said, maybe she shouldn't have got nasty with me. Maybe you should go comment on what she said. Or maybe I'm asking you to witness where your pain exists. Your pain is getting triggered because of someone's nonsensical comment. How do you get your power and return back to a space of positivity if you cannot acknowledge the ways in which you give your power away? And of course, they had nothing substantial to say, and they weren't gonna take accountability. So their final comment is, "Whatever. So then you want to be nasty to me? Yeah, okay. It's nasty to let you know that I'm not defending some stranger who I don't even agree with. I'm asking you to witness where your pain exists inside you so you can address that because I recognize you deserve to live in a space that's beyond where this pain is, right? To heal that. If you guys want to shift into a positive space, you have to be willing to see where within you this pain exists so that it can no longer be triggered. When you can recognize where that trigger is, you can take the necessary steps to protect that part of you, not expose that part of you, in order for you to have the opportunity to begin truly healing it. Now, with that comment, I'm making an assumption. Uh, they want to suffer. Let them. Not gonna respond anymore. Be content in your suffering. That's that. That's that. Because then that's me exposing my triggers to myself, where I am now on the fringe of choosing to violate someone else's sovereign decision to suffer by trying to impress upon them my perception that you don't deserve to suffer. You deserve to heal. You can't heal what you don't know is injured. What you refuse to acknowledge is injured, right? You can't heal that if you don't acknowledge it. So, part of the way we're going to shift into a more positive space, starting with today, is by recognizing where is our fear coming from. This whole eclipse thing is so out of hand. I just got to laugh about it. It's so out of hand. Oh my lord. All this information that's coming out and it's fascinating, but at the same time, um, it's odd. It's odd. It's very, very odd. I don't know if it's just because now I'm finally allowing myself to be immersed into TikTok, but it's odd. There is a fear that exists within us. What is this fear about? Is it a fear of lack of control, lack of power, lack of ability to overcome circumstance that we are facing? Or is it more of a recognition, a subconscious recognition that we have all given our power away to organizations that never had our best interest in mind? And that we are very much aware that these organizations, they're willing to allow us to be harmed. And we don't know how to take our power back. Once we can recognize that that's probably the root of what it is, the root of what is causing our fear, there's a simple solution. Stop participating. That's a very simple solution. Stop participating, right? And some might be like, but Emmy, you're posting videos too. Yes, that's very intentional. It's very intentional. It's to ride the algorithm so that people will click on those things and then they'll see my other content, which tells you, hey, you don't have to be afraid. You literally don't have to be afraid. You have the capacity to get through everything that life sends your way. And we're going to be fine. We are going to absolutely make it through every single thing that we will face. And these things that we will face are simply methods that creation allows in order to further us along in our process of exiting this place of participation. We need to really focus on clearing this out. We've struggled to clear this out for quite some time. They need all of this. Ding, ding, ding. Because guess what? Too many people are so focused on what that proverbial they are doing. We are so focused. We are coming together and speaking together, and there's a lot of boycotts happening and a lot of this and a lot of that. And ooh, these mega corporations are in trouble. So what are we going to do? Oh, let's create a lot of fear about this event. I was sharing yesterday that I've actually been in the direct path of a total solar eclipse. I was in the direct path in 2017 and I was outside. My nose. Oh my gosh, my nose is super itchy. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Let me just. I was in the direct path and nothing happened. Nothing happened. Yeah. I was already in the space of developing my spiritual perceptions and then I just continued with that. So literally nothing happened. Right? I don't know that something's going to be happening on this eclipse that's tangible to all humans. Um, I know there's going to be a lot of energy stuff, a lot of frequency based stuff. I know that there's a lot of attempts to utilize fear and hyperfixation to get us into a space where we are helping to manifest specific things. I was thinking today maybe we should have some type of online event where we kind of come together with a singular focused intention before the eclipse, a singular focused intention of not allowing, of creating barriers for every single stargate that's going to dilate and not allowing just anything through. We have that kind of power, you know that, right? Or maybe you don't. We can contain all of this. We can. We can contain it. It can be something that something that just requires focused intention. You don't have to have a spiritual practice. You don't have to meditate. You don't have to do anything. You simply have to hold that thought of, no, I won't allow myself or anyone I care about, or in fact, I won't allow anyone to be harmed. I refuse to give my permission to allow anything malignant through any gates. No, I'm taking my power back. I'm intentionally creating a space of fertility, a space where we can create opportunities to connect, to heal. And I am using my power intentionally. That's what the cards are telling me. That maybe it's time for us to be intentional in that way, right? Oh, So, a new alignment is taking place, is what I'm gathering from what Teresa said. Teresa says this eclipse has a whole bunch of planetary movement and frequencies over April. Kazemi on Wednesday, 420 is the actual major conjunction. Those big planets coming into the next age positions. Yeah. What if the eclipse is connecting us to the central sun, which allows us to gain more positivity by connecting with Source God? That's what I'm choosing to see. The sun is actually an energetic repository of consciousness. Solar energy is God consciousness. Our lesser sun is holding our consciousness. The central sun that you talk about is holding a fragment of the consciousness of creation itself. It's alignment. It's alignment. There are already safety measures in place on an energetic level that I'm aware of. And those energetic precautionary measures, they will hold. They will hold. Why? Because you cannot usurp the authority of God itself. And when God says it's had enough, the exploration of that dark distortion is now done. It cannot withstand the sovereign free will of divinity itself. I feel like we're going to be fine. I feel like there's a lot of fear. I feel like there's a lot of attempts at this and a lot of attempts at that. And if you want to feed into that, I mean, totally your choice. Do you need to? Not really. Not really. There's better use of your energy. There's better use of your time and your effort. There's better use of your divinity, you know? Yes. The Native Americans use the eclipse as a time to be grateful for the sun, father, and for the rebirth. And some nations take the practice of staying indoors and being in a somber environment and just really reflecting on the sacredness of this alignment. Um, Being allowed to see the ending of certain things in order to make way for the beginning of something else. It's very beautiful. It's very, very beautiful. And if we allow ourselves to get to a point where this alignment empowers us in our sense of ourselves and our authority over ourselves. And do you know how the world changes? It changes in a very powerful way. Very, very powerful way. Surrender to the divine, but it's in reverse. I think a lot of the problem is that we surrender to everything but divinity itself. We surrender to the attempts to dominate us by other people. We surrender to the pressures to remain within the parameters that other people set for us. I mean, if you want to shift gears to a positive space, you have to own your power. You have to own your decisions. You have to allow yourself to be like, you know what, this is what I decide for myself. Last night I was live, right? And someone comes on, I don't know who they are. And I was being pretty docile the whole live stream. I was just chilling, just chatting. And then someone comes on and is like, no, you're wrong. It's blah, 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 blah. Okay. And I don't agree with you. And you're not going to be able to change my mind. So what now? What now? What happens next? What are you going to do about it? Person didn't comment at all. Nothing happens. When you own your thoughts, your perception, and you allow your thoughts and perception to be in alignment with what you need to focus on, what happens if you disagree with someone? Nothing. What if you disagree and you just hold that, like, I'm not going to agree with you? Um, and you can think whatever you want. We don't have to agree. It's perfectly fine. What happens? Nothing. They had nothing to say because they were waiting for me to be like, trying to debate and this and that. Like, I'm not interested in debate. I believe what I believe. I believe the things I believe for a reason. Now, if you're to present me information, I'll hear it, but you're not going to force me to agree with you. And you're not going to force me into an activity that I choose not to participate in. So then what now? Nothing. Nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. And I tell you that response shook them. It shook them. They did not know what to say. Why did it shake them? Because the world is not accustomed to us as individuals simply owning our power and our power having nothing to do with other people needing to agree with us. When you need other people to agree with your beliefs, do you really actually believe what you claim to believe? I actually believe what I believe. So it doesn't matter who agrees with me or who doesn't. My beliefs are not because I read something. My beliefs is because of the life that I have lived, what I have experienced firsthand. You guys notice I don't talk about things that I don't have experience in. And I'm the first to be like, you know, I don't really have much to say about that. I've never lived through that. So I don't really feel like it's my place to speak on that. Um, I don't know. I don't know what you want me to tell you. I don't, I don't have experience in that. I can't speak about things I never experienced. At least that's my view of things. That if I am not part of that culture, if I, and I mean, even like part of that culture in that I grew up with a bunch of friends that are from that culture and they immersed me in it. You know what I mean? If I have no experience, I should not talk about it. Someone wanted me to talk about my opinions on the Quran. It's a holy book for some people. I mean, I've read passages, I've read verses. I have a very rudimentary understanding, and that's really all I can say. I mean, they talk about Michael, they talk about Muhammad. I mean, what do you want me to say? Right? My beliefs are based in what I have lived through. And therefore, I don't need someone to agree with me in order to back me up. Next time, when someone challenges your beliefs, ask yourself, am I engaging in this communication because I'm explaining myself and trying to get them to agree? And if you are, do you really believe what you believe? Do you really believe what you believe? Because if you don't know why you believe what you believe, whoever that person is that's engaging you in um, adversarial conversation, they're the last of your worries. They're absolutely the last of your worries. I think it's a more pressing concern that you don't know what you believe and why. You want to get to a space of positivity within yourself. You have to know what's at your core. You have to know what you believe and why. And I'm not talking about trying to explain it to someone else. Years ago, many, many, many years ago, um, my mother started a conversation with me. So she said to me that I should basically be ashamed of myself because I haven't been taking my very young children to church. And at that point, I was already kind of in a space of I don't know what I believe. And it's not that I don't believe in God, it's that I don't know what I believe. And so I needed to figure that out for myself before I indoctrinated my children. And she said that I was condemning my children to hell by not taking them to church and teaching them about God. And then I said to her, "Do you read the Bible?" She goes, "No." I was like, "Then how do you know what you believe? How do you know what you believe about God?" And she goes, "Isn't it enough that my mother believed it too?" No, it's not. It's not. It's not enough to believe something just because the person before you believes it, because that's not being a sovereign. That is carrying the programs and the trauma that came before you and adding it to your own and carrying that as though it is yours and then expecting me to carry it after you. No. In order to shift gears, I need you to put that package down. And I'm going to open that package and I'm going to go through the whole thing. And I'm going to see, what is it that we're carrying? Is this a necessity? Or are we just carrying around the baggage of fear from generation after generation after generation? And I'm not asking you guys to agree with me or to take my word as though it's the ultimate word. I'm presenting you the opportunity to question what you believe, not because I'm right, but because I want you to feel right in what you believe. Doesn't have to match what I believe at all. At all. At all. At all. Adjustments are required, but it's in reverse. You will never shift gears into that positive space if you don't allow for the adjustments to occur. So, I know how to drive a manual transmission. I taught myself. That's like trying to change gears without using the clutch. I'm sure you could ram gears into place. You probably could. But you're going to destroy the whole transmission. You're going to destroy that. You're going to grind those gears. You're going to mess up those teeth. You're going to mess that whole damn thing up. Do you know the cost to repair a transmission? Sometimes it can be more than the value of the car. Yep. And people don't realize that your ability to shift gears within your life is so crucial. The maintenance of that is so crucial because why? Without that gearbox, you're not moving. You can rev and rev and rev in place, but you are not moving. Someone that we knew years ago, my husband and I, his transmission still worked going forward, but the reverse gear went out. I remember I went to high school with him and I was just like, what are you doing? Because whenever he would need to reverse, he would have to open the car door and stick one foot out and Barney rubble that. He would have to push his vehicle with his foot. And I was like, what are you doing? He goes, I don't have a reverse. And I was like, doesn't that mean your car is broken? He said, it still drives forward. Okay. Okay. So if we're making the analogy that your spiritual development is like a transmission and how crucial that is, the most crucial part of a transmission is the clutch. Do you know what the clutch does? It's the pause. You press that clutch and it lifts it. The gears have teeth, and that's what's keeping it in place and causing the movement, right? Causing the ability to go ahead and transfer that momentum to the wheels. That's it works with the engine. When you push the clutch, it disengages momentarily. You're not going to ride that clutch, just momentarily, until you shift the gears and let another gear come forward, right? When you begin to realize the way your spiritual journey functions, the fear of it all goes away. It goes away. And I don't know if it's because I have a Capricorn moon or I just got balls like you wouldn't believe. I taught myself how to drive stick in San Francisco alone. Alone. Oh, you best believe within a few minutes, I learned how to master that clutch. that beautiful balance between the brake, the clutch, the e-brake, and letting it rev just a little bit so you don't roll back. People are crazy, crazy in Frisco. They press real close to your bumper behind you, and you're on a steep hill. Like, you cannot roll back. And you can't stall because you really rolled back. So I taught myself. Um, that time that I borrowed that brother's car was the very first time that I actually drove, and I took his, what is it, like a, I took his 3000 GT to Sacramento. I drove it all the way from, it's like a 2-hour drive one way. I drove in traffic in the rain. I'm so glad I didn't crash his 3000 GT. That taught me how to drive on the freeway, but it didn't teach me the intricacies of understanding your clutch. I taught myself about the clutch driving in San Francisco. So when you allow yourself to recognize exactly how it is you're going to move through this journey of yours, exactly what needs to happen in order for you to create the movement, to create the potentiality for movement. As you continue to practice that, your fear will naturally dissolve. It will come like second nature. When I first started, I had to look at the RPMs. After a little bit, you can feel it. You can feel the engine getting loud. It's time to shift the gear. You don't have enough power, it's time to downshift. It's very easy once you get the hang of it. What people don't understand with your journey back to a space of positivity, with your spiritual development, you're not always just climbing gears. You're not always going to go to the next higher gear, next higher gear. So, my husband's taught me a lot in life. Don't let him hear me say that. No, he's literally, he's helped me to learn quite a bit in life. And he was part of a car club, and he loves racing and stuff. And so he taught me a lot. And if you're climbing an incline, if you're driving up an incline and you don't have enough power, you don't just stay in fifth gear, gripping the steering wheel like, come on, come on. No, pop that shit in third. It'll grab. You get some torque in that and you'll climb. You'll climb. And as you increase in your momentum climbing up, you need less torque, more horsepower. Put it in fourth, then put it in fifth. Not a big deal. People think that once you reach a certain level, you have to stay at that level and keep going higher. No, you are a dynamic energy. You are a dynamic energy. You have to use the appropriate gear for whatever it is, the environment, the incline, whatever it is you're at. That is what you need to consider. And right now, there's no point in being in fifth gear. We're climbing something right now as a collective whole. Pop that biznatch in third. Pop it into third. Drop down 2 levels and allow yourself to increase the amount of torque. That is the pull. We don't need to push. There's nothing that needs to be pushed forward right now. What we need to do is pull the rest of us out of this space of fear-based, crippling lack of movement. Time to take time to breathe out, but it's in reverse. For many of us, we're holding our breath for whatever we think might happen. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Yeah, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Okay, ellipse, frequency, tectonic shifting, all kind of different things. Okay. Okay. So go buy a little bit of food. If you're really that afraid, if you're really that concerned, go buy a little bit of food. Buy like 3, 4 days worth of food. That's not going to rot. You'll eat that in 3, 4 days. Go groceries today. You don't have to get thousands of dollars worth of food. Just enough so that you feel okay. Like if something does happen, hey, you got food at home. No biggie. No biggie. No biggie at all. You don't have to buy months worth of food. Buy a couple extra meals. Stick it in your freezer. Buy it in can form. No biggie. You want to be prepared? Okay, that's good. That's good. Have extra food? No problem. You should have extra food in your home anyways, just for convenience. It doesn't have to be a lot. It could be like, extra 2, 3 days worth of food so that, if you get busy and can't go grocery shopping, that's fine. You still have dinner. It's no biggie. And if nothing happens, good. We don't want something to happen. And if something happens, okay, you're okay. You're prepared. You have a little bit of food, people figure things out within a couple days. It's fine. No worries. No matter what, you have to keep living. You have to keep living. You have to keep living. It's not enough to merely exist. You have to truly be present and live at this point. Because guess what? A new start is coming. And this is a very good thing for us. That means once the distraction of all of this is done, we can go back to focusing on what we are going to do together to continue the shifting, right? There's a shifting that's taking place. There's a shifting that's taking place. It cannot be stopped, nor do I want it to be stopped. It's a shifting that's taking us to a space of knowing how powerful we are when we agree that we deserve more. We deserve more peace. We deserve community. We deserve the truth, right? Connection in reverse. So, part of the reason things have gotten this bad is because we've allowed ourselves to become very disconnected from each other. You ever notice how the most profound individuals, like the ones that have the power to change our reality, they typically meet their demise early, right? So, more recently, Tupac. What a beautiful mind. What a beautiful mind with such a profound influence. Had the capacity to take different communities of people, bring them together, and get them to think on things in a much deeper manner. We also have Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Was he just advocating for one people? No. He had a dream for all people. Can't have that, right? Bob Marley, all these people. Why were they so powerful and why did they need to be removed? They were creating potentiality for connection. They were connecting people. Do you know how powerful it is when we connect with each other? When we're not competing, comparing? Do you know how powerful that is? It has the ability to completely change the trajectory of where we're headed as individuals and together as a collective whole. So let's connect. There's something so beautiful and healing when you are going through a hardship and you connect with someone who's already been through it or who's going through it as well, separate from you. And you're like, oh my God, you're going through it too? Yeah. Oh my gosh. So you understand, you get it. Yeah. Yeah. I get it. I get it. And I personally believe that's why I've been through so much in life, so that pretty much anyone I come across, I can understand what you're struggling through. I can understand what's causing to feel as though you're suffering. I mean, I went through something similar, not exact details, but very similar. And look, I'm fine. It sucked. It sucked. But I mean, you get through it. You get out the other side and then you realize like, oh, it wasn't that big a deal. It felt like it though. It felt like it. It felt like it was a really big deal, but really you know, it's just because we were so zoomed in. We were so invested emotionally that it became something that crippled us. It shrank our perception. You need to become more efficient. How do you do that? By understanding your finger. It is your finger on the zoom button. You can zoom in, you can zoom out. And when you zoom out, that's like pressing the clutch and allowing yourself to pause so you can shift gears into whatever gear is the most appropriate. You can't stay in third gear the whole time. My husband used to make fun of me because I'm about efficiency, gas efficiency. And so what I would do, I know you guys are going to laugh. What I would do is I would start in first and then I would skip second gear. I would let first gear get kind of high. I wouldn't take it to red line, but I would let the RPMs go kind of high enough for third to be able to grab. And then I would skip fourth gear. I would take third kind of high too, and I would pop it into fifth. My husband's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm saving gas. He's like, stop driving like that. You can't stay in third the whole time. You can't launch off third. You won't have any power. You'll lurch and stall. Sometimes you have to drop back down to first gear. Sometimes you have to skip up to fifth. It really just depends. Zoom out and allow yourself to see the environment you're in. When you're so zoomed in, it's like trying to drive your manual vehicle while staring at the gear shift the entire time. And it's more than just you're missing um, the beautiful view outside the windows. Like you're going to crash. You don't know where you're headed. You don't know if danger is right in front of you. You drive stick shift by feel. I can drive stick with my eyes closed. I don't need to see the RPMs. I don't need to see the gear shift. I can do it all by feel. I can feel when the engine is telling me it's time to shift. Shift up, shift down. You can do it all by feel, and that's how you're supposed to do your journey. You don't do it by what you see. You do it by what you feel. Do you feel like it's time? Time to what? Slam on your brakes? Just pop the clutch. It's not that big a deal. It's not that big a deal. Hold the clutch down. You don't know what to do? Keep coasting. Hold the clutch down. Take it out of gear and hold the clutch down. You'll still move. You don't have to slam on your brakes. It doesn't have to be this destructive process for you. The friction is necessary. We get freaked out by the friction we feel from other people, from life itself. Friction is a byproduct of movement. Without that friction, you cannot move. You will not go anywhere. Friction is a byproduct of your movement. Absence in reverse. This is telling me that your soul wants you to be present now. You need to be present now. You need to give yourself the opportunity to rediscover what you're here to learn about you, not about anyone else, but about you. You serve as a human emissary for your soul. Your human aspects are helping your celestial soul to learn things it cannot learn short of being in a human form. So learn everything you need to learn. Allow yourself to see life in a different way, not because you're forcing it, right? We're not ramming things into gear. but because you're pausing and shifting. And then as you release that clutch, the gears will grab once again, and the appropriate degree of movement and force will be applied. Use your discernment. Use your discernment. Okay? Use your discernment. Allow yourself to get to a point where you can trust your feeling. Whatever you feel, that's a communication from soul. Stop gaslighting yourself into believing that you're just being mean, that you're just, I don't know. We tell ourselves so much that's untrue. We tell ourselves and try and convince ourselves that we are the kind of people that should be ashamed of themselves. I don't think you should be. But I mean, if you knew what I've been through, if I knew what you've been through, I'm pretty sure I would appreciate you even more deeply. Because to have been through everything you've been through and still trying to work on yourself, still not lashing out onto other people and blaming yourself for what was done to you, still trying to protect even the most heinous individuals. I think if I knew what you've been through, I'd probably appreciate you even more deeply. That's the reality of things. You're so ashamed of your life details. I think if people knew, they'd wonder how you're still as beautiful as you are. So loving, so compassionate, so kind. And no, that message is not going to apply to everyone. That's the reality of it. It will apply to many people, most people in our community. Absolutely. That's why you're drawn to this space, because of the resonance. But it's not going to apply to everyone. Because the things that you look at yourself poorly over are really things that other people have done to you. It's not going to apply to the people who have intentionally gone out of their way to be hurtful and harmful to others. Those people, work on yourself. Work on yourself, because that's a real shitty way to exist. Work on yourself. I have no kind words. Nope. Work on yourself and stop projecting onto other people who didn't inflict the wounds that you are using as the basis of your excuse to be hurtful and harmful to other people intentionally. That's a fucking shitty thing to do. See, I'm a real person. I don't say things just to be nice. I speak honestly. For most of our community, you've been through a lot because of someone else. And no, you're not a victim. You co-created that. But also no, you weren't tainted or destroyed by it. It added to your understanding of why you must always maintain your integrity and sovereignty, never allowing those with a lesser consciousness, a lesser degree of integrity to influence you into acting in a way that's not in alignment with who you are. That is not who you are. You are not a byproduct of the lessons it took for you to understand the gravity of you. I got to get going. Church is about to start. If you want to be part of church today, go check it out. We're going to be talking at the Soul Sanctuary. This is our congregation space. It doesn't matter if you're already a member of a different church. We are open to everyone. In order to access this space, we do ask that you are part of a recurring contribution. The recurring contribution is an ongoing donation once a month. You select which tier. And because it's a contribution, a recurring contribution, it is not a membership. And that technically makes it eligible to be claimed as a donation on your tax return for those who live in the United States. So if you're looking for a way to support our church, this is an awesome way to do it while also being part of the community and talking openly about so many different things. I'm going to be going on there in about 5 minutes at 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I also want to remind you guys, I'm going to be coming live on Monday for the Solar Eclipse Dragon Fire event. We're going to have a little fire ceremony. If you'd like me to do any type of energetic work on you, or you would like a reading, a scan, whatever it is, or you just want to see what I have offering, click on that QR code or the link in the comments. I got to get going. For those who are part of our congregation, I'll see you guys in about 5 minutes. Get ready to hop on with me on that Zoom call and let's chat about a whole bunch of different things. So, guys, be safe this weekend. Don't let your fear get the best of you. Don't let other people's fear get the best of you. If you're really worried about some type of event, just get a little bit of food and then hang out. Hang out. Go watch Stranger Things. Go watch Stranger Things. Binge watch that with some snacks and think of me. All right, give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already subscribed. Please do subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Join me when I'm live. And if you haven't already, please go check me out on TikTok. We're almost to that 10K follower. And once we reach 10K, I'm going to be able to create video series and organize the info dump that I'm planning. That's my evil laugh. Okay, guys, I really got to go.